the Economic War Room, we're always looking at challenges to our nation, to our sovereignty, to our economy. We have foreign enemies, we have domestic enemies. Well, there's startling news that we may have a foreign enemy operating through a domestic enemy, and that domestic enemy may be our own president. Is it rumor? Is it real? Let's ask the Dean of the School of Government at Regent University, former multi-term, I think 5-term Congresswoman Michele Bachmann. Michele, is this real? Is President Biden selling out our sovereignty to the UN and the China-controlled World Health Organization?
The short answer is yes. He's tried this before. Last year, there was a big effort. God heard the prayers of his people, and it was canceled by some African countries and by Brazil. This year, the Biden administration is back on a dual track. They're trying to have an effort whereby all 194 member nations of the UN would yield their sovereignty to the World Health Organization and essentially create a global platform for global governance in the process. It's a huge thing that's happening. It's almost sci-fi. You can't even believe that the American president would be behind this effort. But they did it last year, and they're more determined this year, Kevin, and they want to do it quickly. There's going to be a meeting that happens on February 27th regarding a global pandemic treaty, and then in the last week of May, there'll be a meeting in Geneva, Switzerland, to change some regulations to govern the World Health Organization. Both have the same goal. Both is to see every nation in the world yield the sovereignty over healthcare and cede that to the World Health Organization, which is effectively run by the communist Chinese.
Well, you know, I don't understand how they can do this. I mean, you're at the School of Government. The Constitution is pretty plain. You can't agree to a treaty without the advice and the consent of the Senate. How is he going to do that?
Well, you're exactly right. That's what the American Constitution says. But in a document that I have in front of me, this is the document they're working off of. It's the zero draft, it's called, of the World Health Organization for the consideration of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Body at its 4th meeting. That's February 27th, where they've already decided, yes, we understand all member nations need to be able to go back and have the Democrat process. They don't believe that at all. What they're saying is that when every signatory signs this document, when every signatory, every representative from each nation signs this, it will provisionally go into effect, which means it doesn't matter if you go back to your nation or not. And they're calling this, the subterfuge is they're calling this an accord, like the Abraham Accord. So they're calling this an executive agreement. Oh, it's not really a treaty, it's an accord. So therefore, you don't need U.S. Senate approval. So that's why we need to have every U.S. senator scream and shout that this will not be allowed to happen. I'm telling you, the Biden administration has been on this for several years. Their intent that we will never have local control or state control again over health care. And remember, the U.S. Constitution does not delegate power over health care to the federal government. It is to the state governments. And that's what the Biden administration didn't like, because federal courts ruled, Kevin, that states were the ones that could have something to say about lockdowns, masking, mandates on vaccines. Well, this would take it not only away from state and local government officials here in the United States, it would remove decision-making from the President of the United States and to the Congress and invest all power over healthcare decisions in one person. That would be Tedros, the executive director of the World Health Organization. So every person in the world would see their healthcare decisions controlled by the World Health Organization.
That's just
We've
crazy.
Never seen anything like this.
That's just crazy. And a couple of things. One is the freer states, the ones that didn't lock down, didn't mask up, were the ones that performed better. We've seen the data. And so we would eliminate that opportunity to even challenge the scientific authorities. And it really does steal our sovereignty. But what really scares me about this is I have documents, reams of evidence showing that everything has been considered a health crisis. Whether you have gas stoves, it's a health crisis. Whether you use fertilizer, health crisis. Unemployment is a health crisis. Racism is a health crisis. LGBTQ plus matters, health crisis. Water, air, immigration, electronics, entertainment, they're all considered at one point or another a health crisis, which means they would have complete control over every aspect of our lives. It is effectively one world government.
Well, and I can confirm that that's true because that's also contained in this document. The expansive nature of this power says that healthcare includes climate, it includes every aspect of life on the planet. So therefore, that's why this is actually a subterfuge for creating a platform for global governance. And so that power then would be given to the executive director, who is really just a stooge. Tedros has been a stooge for the Communist Chinese. And just last year, he was re-upped for an additional 5 years. So we know which character will be calling the shots. It'll be him. But again, this is meant to defeat, as you said, states here in the United States or in other countries where they've said, we're not going to lock down, like Sweden, we're not going to lock down, we're not going to mask up. But this gives this incredible authority in this document over it. They trigger the World Trade Organization, the World Commerce Agreements. That authority would also be given to Tedros at the World Health Organization. In other words, once this passes, I mean, Kevin, that's all that has to happen. We lose authority over our lives. So if you ever go to a doctor again, the doctor would have no authority. He wouldn't be able to prescribe what he wants for you. He could only prescribe what the World Health Organization allows him to. And there'd be monitoring and surveillance of us as American citizens. Digital passports are considered a part of this. Digital medical records are part
mandates.
of this. Vaccine mandates are part of this.
Well,
That's
Tedros himself is a known Marxist from Ethiopia.
That's right.
Members of the Ethiopian government have called him a criminal, and he was the Director General of the World Health Organization when it failed. It failed in its pandemic response.
And he failed in his own country. He covered up evidences of a lot of problems in Ethiopia, and so he failed up, as a lot of these people do, and then he was put in as the stooge of the Communist Party at the W.h.o. This is who Joe Biden wants to empower, not only with America's healthcare, with the world's healthcare. So this is clearly a one world government takeover over our lives and every aspect of our lives, as you say. So this is deep, it's involved, but this is available. Anyone can find this. This zero draft, we can make sure you have the links so that you can have it for all of your viewers. This information is available. There's very little time. As I said, this international intergovernmental negotiating body is meeting February 27th. They intend to have this all wrapped up. Then they want to have all the countries sign off of it with provisional status, which they're saying is actual status, and that there's no need to go through the treaty process. So the viewers, I would ask them to please melt the phone lines of your members of Congress and of your senators and say, I do not want the Biden administration to give away authority over my health care, because that's exactly what will happen. We will never be the same again. We will never have the ability to even control our own health care and our own bodies. We got a taste of it under COVID-19. That would be a day at the park compared to the nightmare that we're about to enter into. And it could happen fast, either now at the end of February or in the end of May, when they meet in Geneva, Switzerland, to try and take a second stab at this.
So two things. One is we need to contact our senators. They ought to be suing because they're being denied their constitutional right. Number two, in the House, they ought to be impeaching right now. This is traitorous to give away the sovereignty of the United States without the constitutional process. So other than that and prayer, what else can we do?
Well, for instance, I contacted my member of Congress in Minnesota. I let him know what was going on this morning. And I said, Speaker McCarthy needs to have a press conference immediately within 24 hours to announce an emergency hearing that he's going to call. And everyone in the Biden administration should be called in front to answer to Kevin McCarthy and to the House of Representatives. They can do that. And they need to bring people in who know what's going on. They need to have people like Robert Malone and Peter McCullough and people who understand the legal implication of what is happening to testify so that the American people can hear this. They've got to do that, but they've got to do it very quickly. There's no time to waste on this. That's why they need to slow this process down. And they can slow it down if they have a hearing and issue subpoenas. So they need to issue subpoenas to all the Biden functionaries who are trying to make this happen and slow this process down. There's no reason to run naked to the finish line just so that we can give away our American sovereignty and create a global governance platform.
We should never give away American sovereignty. You're absolutely right. We need to light this up. If you're an economic war room patriot, light it up. Get it everywhere. Share it everywhere. This is absolutely essential. This is a way, with the stroke of a pen, the President of the United States thinks he can give away your sovereignty illegally, unconstitutionally, treasonously. And, they're going to call us out for bringing this up, talking about it. They may try and silence us, but we will not be silenced. We will not go gentle into that good night. Stand up, fight. Thank you, Congresswoman Bachmann, for what you've done. Thank you for what you're doing at Regent University.
Thank you. No need to fear. Pray hard. No need to fear.
All right, what we're going to do is we're going to write this up. We'll put it in a very short economic battle plan that you can get at EconomicWarRoom.com with the key links to it. Remember, what we see as a marketplace, our enemies view as a battle space. This is Kevin Freeman from the Economic War Room.